Welcome back to the viewers of Torah Anytime and Yiboneh to the Word for the Table and Mitzvah for Life series from the Kavanos Mitzvahs Foundation. Parshas V'Yishlach. You know, if you were to look into a non-kosher butcher's shop, one of the prominently displayed pieces of meat would be the porterhouse steak. Why? Because some call it the king of the meat. It's a succulent portion. It's beautiful. However, if you were to pass by a kosher meat store, you won't see it there. Why not? So the reason is that to remove the gita Hanasheh from the meat, very complicated and very expensive, and it's almost never done. That means for us, no porterhouse steak. Why? Why is it prohibited? In this week's Parsha is the famous fight, the wrestling match between Yaakov Avinu and the Malach, who Hazal tell us is the Sar Shal Esav. And we all know that Yaakov gets injured in the hip, which seems like that was a loss. Yet, that limp of Yaakov became one of our greatest strengths throughout Jewish history. Let's go to the esteemed Rosh Shimshon Raphael Hirsch to understand why that's the case. This is so beautiful. Rav Hirsch points out that the Gid Hanasheh, that prohibition, it's obviously meant to remind us of what? The wrestling match, and that he hurt his hip, and then he had the limp afterwards. Sever Hirsch, there's no way that is going to be a mitzvah, is just to remember that he got hurt. He's saying, that's like saying that the prohibition of chametz, the whole point, why do we eat chametz? Why do we have a zecher, a remembrance? So remember what bread we ate when we left. That's ridiculous. Listen to these beautiful words of Rav Hirsch. Rav Hirsch explains like this. He says, these seemingly minor events, like when we the fact that we only ate matzah and not chametz, or the Gid Hanasheh, the injury to Yaakov Avinu, it seems like a just minor physical event, but it's turned into eternal divine law. And the only reason Hashem would do that is if there's a profound message in that zecher, in that remembrance. Here we see this. Esav's malach could not defeat Yaakov, but he did temporarily paralyze his leg. This, says Rav Hirsch, represents Yaakov's inability to rely on his physical power. Yaakov's limp signifies the Jewish people's condition throughout history, walking without a secure material foothold. The Isser of Gid Hanasheh reminds Yaakov's descendants, that's us, that our strength lies in our connection to Hashem, not in our worldly power. It's Hashem's way of telling us, your power is not in your muscles, it's in your connection to me. Just like you would not expect a lightweight boxer to defeat the heavyweight champion, so too the Jews have survived against all odds throughout history, which shows us that our true strength is something much deeper than physical might. Today, as Klal Yisrael faces incredible challenges from all fronts, literally, this, in quotes, ancient message hits home with incredible force. While in these times we definitely need our brave soldiers and the Iron Dome defense system, ein echanami, but our ultimate security is and has always come from our staying true to our divine mission. It's not about the size of our army. It's about the strength of our bitachon in Hashem. That's the word for the table. Now, how about a mitzvah for life? The mitzvah of Hanasheh. Every week, us Torah-observant Jews purchase meat for Shabbos, and of course for Yom Tov. This provides us with an opportunity to fulfill the mitzvah of avoiding eating the Hanasheh with conscious intention, with kavanah for the mitzvah. Rather than just buying kosher meat out of habit, we can elevate this mundane act by having in mind that this is the Ratzon Hashem. This is a commandment to get meat that lacks the sciatic nerve, that lacks the Hanasheh. So that's number one. Apply kavanah lemitzvahs when you purchase meat. Let's go deeper, however. We can enhance this by reflecting on the deeper messages while we're making that purchase. That's what the Mishnah Berurah describes as kavanos halev, the focus and engagement of your heart. So for this, we're going to bring another Hiddush about Hanasheh. The Hizikuni teaches us that this prohibition to eat the Hanasheh is a zecher for something else. It's a reminder of the importance of the mitzvah of Leviah, of escorting and accompanying people out. How so? Says the Hizikuni, Yaakov, when did he have this injury? When he was left alone. In other words, when he went to get the pachim katanim, he went on his own, and his sons didn't escort him. They didn't go along with him, and then he got injured. So, this can really change your purchases of meat. Because what does this do? It reminds us we can't let the fellow Jew alone. We can't let our friends alone. We can't let our community alone. The mitzvah of Leviah. So, if we not only, when we purchase the meat, we can sanctify our intentions in the purchase with kavanah for the mitzvah of Hanasheh, but we can tap into this very, very important message. So, purchase meat with this consciousness, and if you do it with kavanah mitzvahs, conscious intention, and kavanos halev, reflecting on the meaning behind the being deprived porterhouse steak, then you'll become closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu and elevate the Jewish people and their situation.
Yipane,